There comes a time in your life where you've got to make a decision. Not just any decision, a life-altering, spirit-shaking, destiny-defining decision. The kind of decision that says, I refuse to be the same person 1 year from now. I refuse to be ignored, overlooked, average, forgotten. That decision starts with focus. You've got to focus until you're unrecognizable. I'm not talking about looking different. I'm not talking about buying designer clothes or changing your style. I'm talking about your mindset being so sharp, your habits being so disciplined, your results being so powerful that the people who once doubted you can't even recognize the version of you standing in front of them. When you focus, you don't compete with anyone. You compete with your old self. You look in the mirror and say, we're not staying here. Yesterday's progress is not enough. Yesterday's wins are not enough. You go again. You grind again. You stretch again. Until your family sees it. Until your bank account sees it. Until your health reflects it. Until your confidence radiates it. Until your enemies can't even deny it. You focus until you're unrecognizable. So what are you waiting for? The version of you that you dream about. The one that lives free, walks in purpose, inspires others, builds generational wealth, creates impact. That version is possible, but it's going to take a level of focus you've never tapped into before. A level of discipline where you don't skip the work. A level of intensity where every day you ask, did I get better today? Let them underestimate you. Let them laugh. Let them doubt you. Because you're about to focus so hard that even you won't recognize the person you're becoming. It starts today. Focus until you're unrecognizable. If you want to transform your life, the first step is to eliminate all distractions. Not some, not most, all. Because distraction is the silent killer of dreams. It's not just the big obvious temptations that destroy focus, it's the small constant interruptions, the notifications, the scrolling, the unnecessary conversations, the habits that pull your attention away one moment at a time. You can't become unrecognizable if you're constantly pulled back into the same mindset, the same comfort zone, the same average routine that's kept you stuck for years. The truth is, many people never reach their full potential, not because they lack talent or ambition, but because they never learn how to protect their focus. They allow their energy to be scattered. Their goals are blurry because their attention is divided. You've got to understand, greatness requires isolation. It demands that you shut out the noise. You cannot focus deeply while entertaining distractions. You can't chase your dream while also checking your phone every 5 minutes. You can't build something legendary while giving your attention to things that don't matter. You have to starve your distractions and feed your purpose. This means making bold decisions. It means saying no when everyone expects a yes. It means stepping away from people who don't respect your grind. Not everyone around you is going where you're going, and not everyone deserves access to your time, your energy, or your peace. Every time you allow distraction to take over, you delay your own progress. Think about that. Every moment you give to a meaningless argument, a random scroll session, a toxic conversation, or an activity with no return on investment, that's time stolen from the version of you that's waiting to break out. The version that's disciplined, focused, dangerous. You're either feeding that version or starving it with every choice you make. That's how real this is. That's how urgent your focus needs to be. Now let's be honest, some distractions are disguised as comfort. It feels good to relax a little longer. It feels safe to stay in familiar places, around familiar people doing the same things. But comfort is the enemy of progress. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. If you're distracted, you're not locked in. If you're always reacting to life, you're not designing it. You can't be both focused and distracted. You have to choose, and that choice has to be made every single day. The world is full of noise. Everyone wants your attention. Every platform, every app, every opinion, every trend is fighting to steal your focus. But if you want to become something you've never been, you have to do something you've never done, and that means claiming your time and controlling your environment with ruthless intensity. Wake up earlier if you need to. Turn off notifications. Block out time for deep work. Build habits that pull you forward instead of push you back. Create an environment that reinforces your focus, not breaks it. You've got to get obsessed with clarity. You've got to wake up knowing exactly what you're working toward and why it matters. Because when your why is strong, your distractions get weaker. When you remember what you're fighting for, the life you want to live, the legacy you want to leave, suddenly the distractions lose their grip. You stop entertaining nonsense. You stop wasting time. You stop letting people who don't matter influence your decisions. Focus is about ownership. It's about taking full responsibility for what enters your mind, your heart, your life. It's about being unavailable for anything that doesn't align with your mission. It's about becoming so dialed in, so deeply committed to your vision that nothing can shake you. You've got to focus like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. The life you're capable of living, the impact you're destined to make, the greatness inside of you, it's all waiting on the other side of your distractions. So if you're serious about becoming unrecognizable, start here. Start by cutting the noise. Protect your focus like it's sacred. Guard your energy like your future depends on it. Because it does. This is your time. This is your season. Lock in. Strip away the things that are holding you back. And watch how fast your life starts to shift. Watch how powerful you become when your attention is no longer scattered. Watch how unrecognizable you become when your focus is relentless. To become unrecognizable, you must start with a clear and unshakable vision. You cannot hit a target you can't see. You cannot transform into someone new without first knowing who that person is. This isn't about having a vague idea of success or a blurry picture of your dreams. This is about defining your goals with razor-sharp clarity. What does the highest version of you look like? How do they walk, speak, think, act? What habits do they live by? What kind of relationships do they nurture? What kind of results do they produce? Until you have a crystal clear picture of where you're going, you'll always drift. You'll always be at the mercy of distractions, temporary emotions, and the opinions of others. A clear vision is what keeps you going when things get hard. It's what grounds you when the process gets painful. It's what wakes you up early and keeps you up late. People who don't have a vision settle for whatever life hands them. But people with vision, they build their lives on purpose. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They don't follow trends, they follow direction. Vision gives you purpose, and purpose gives you power. But here's the truth, vision alone is not enough. You can't just dream about it. You can't just write it on a vision board and hope it shows up. You've got to believe in it so deeply that it becomes non-negotiable. You've got to see it so vividly in your mind that you feel like you're already living it. That belief, that mental ownership is what gives your vision life. It turns an idea into a mission. It turns a goal into a standard. When your vision is unshakable, nothing can knock you off track, not failure, not setbacks, not rejection, not doubt. An unshakable vision is not built overnight. It's built through reflection, prayer, study, quiet time, and intentional planning. You have to disconnect from the noise of the world and tune in to your inner voice. The world will try to feed you a version of success that's not even yours. Money, fame, approval. But your vision has to be personal. It has to be authentic. It has to come from your soul, not society. What do you truly want? Not what your parents want, not what your friends expect, not what social media praises you. That's where real transformation begins. Once your vision is in place, everything else must align with it. Your schedule, your habits, your mindset, your conversations, your choices, all of it must reflect your destination. If it doesn't align, it doesn't belong. That's how you protect your vision. That's how you build momentum. And every single day, you revisit that vision. You don't just write it once and forget it. You meditate on it. You visualize it. You speak it out loud. You journal it. You breathe life into it. Because if you don't feed your vision, the world will feed you its distractions. And that's how you stay stuck. One of the most powerful things about having a clear and unshakable vision is that it gives you endurance. You'll face storms, you'll face criticism, you'll fail. But vision pulls you forward. When you know where you're going, temporary pain doesn't stop you. It shapes you. Obstacles become training. Rejection becomes redirection. Delays become preparation. Because when your vision is bigger than your feelings, you don't quit. You press on. Think of every champion, every successful person you admire. They all started with a vision. They saw something that didn't yet exist. They believed in it before anyone else did. They protected it, worked for it, sacrificed for it, and never let it go. That's what you must do. And over time, that vision begins to manifest, not by magic, but by alignment. The clearer your vision, the easier it is to say no to things that don't serve you. The stronger your vision, the more intentional your actions become. And eventually, the person who once dreamed of becoming great becomes the person who others look at and say, "How did you do it?" That's when you become unrecognizable. That's when people from your past can't believe who you've become. But it starts with vision. Real, raw, personal vision. See it, believe it, commit to it, and let it guide you every single day. The world can't stop someone who is led by a mission and fueled by purpose. Build your vision so strong that no storm can shake it, and let that vision transform you into the person you were always meant to be. Discipline is the backbone of transformation. It's the engine behind every dream, every goal, every vision. You can talk about success all day. You can post about it, write it in your journal, speak it into existence, but none of it becomes real until discipline steps in. If you truly want to become unrecognizable, you have to stop depending on motivation and start living by discipline. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are fleeting. Discipline is a decision, it's a mindset, it's a lifestyle, it's what keeps you going long after motivation has disappeared. The truth is, there are going to be days when you don't feel like showing up, days when the fire is low, days when the results aren't there, days when you're tired, discouraged, even questioning yourself. And it's in those moments where discipline speaks louder than doubt. Discipline tells you, get up anyway. Discipline tells you, do it regardless of how you feel. Because the version of you that you're chasing, the unrecognizable, elite, next-level version, isn't built by emotion. It's built by repetition. By showing up over and over again, especially when it's hard. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when no one is clapping. It means sacrificing what you want now for what you want most. It's waking up early when your bed feels comfortable. It's putting in the reps when your body says stop. It's sticking to your plan when your friends are out partying. And it's not about being perfect. Discipline doesn't mean you never fall. It means you never quit. You fall forward, you learn, you adjust, you grow, but you never stop moving toward that vision. One of the biggest traps people fall into is waiting to feel ready. They wait for motivation to kick in. They wait for the right moment. But discipline doesn't wait, it acts. And in acting, it creates momentum. And momentum is powerful. Momentum breaks resistance. Momentum builds confidence. But you can't get momentum without consistency. And you can't get consistency without discipline. Every person you admire for their success, they didn't get there because they were always motivated. They got there because they were disciplined. They trained their minds to obey their purpose. They got addicted to growth, not comfort. They committed to routines that others couldn't maintain. They worked when others rested. And over time, that daily discipline built a life that made them unrecognizable from where they started. The key to discipline is understanding that you're not just building results, you're building identity. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you reinforce a belief. I'm the kind of person who keeps going. I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start. That belief is stronger than height. That belief rewires your mind. And over time, you stop needing to convince yourself, you just do the work. It becomes who you are. Discipline also brings freedom. Most people think discipline is restrictive. They think it's about rules, about limitation, but that's short-sighted. True discipline gives you freedom. Freedom from regret, from inconsistency, from wasted time. When you're disciplined with your time, you have more of it. When you're disciplined with your money, you gain control of your future. When you're disciplined with your health, you gain energy and confidence. Discipline doesn't cage you, it unlocks you. But don't expect it to be easy. Building discipline is hard. It requires mental toughness. It means saying no to things that feel good in the moment but cost you long term. It means pushing through the discomfort of early mornings, tough workouts, long nights, or long hours of study. But that pain is temporary. That discomfort is an investment, and the return is massive. The return is you becoming someone you've never been. The path to becoming unrecognizable is paved with boring, repetitive, consistent action. It's not always flashy, it's not always exciting, but it's always worth it. You don't rise by accident, you rise by design. And discipline is the tool that sculpts the design into reality. If you can build the discipline to show up daily, you will wake up one day and not even recognize who you used to be. You'll look back and realize that discipline didn't just change your schedule, it changed your life. It changed your mindset. It changed your legacy. So stop waiting for a feeling, start making a decision. Choose discipline. Let it shape you, let it mold you, let it lead you. And keep choosing it until you become the version of yourself no one, including you, thought was possible. That's how you focus until you're unrecognizable. You have to become obsessed with growth. Not interested, not casually committed. Obsessed. That means every single day, in every single way, you're thinking, how can I be better than I was yesterday? You wake up with a hunger that won't let you sit still. You don't wait for change, you chase it. You don't settle for being good, you're pushing toward greatness. Becoming unrecognizable isn't just about external success, it's about internal transformation. It's about shedding the old version of you and replacing it with someone who is focused, disciplined, wise, and powerful. And that only happens through intentional, relentless growth. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't show up because you want it to. It happens when you deliberately put yourself in uncomfortable situations to expand who you are. That means reading when others are watching TV. That means asking for feedback when your ego doesn't want to hear it. That means studying, training, learning, and investing in yourself even when you don't see the immediate payoff. When you're obsessed with growth, you don't need a reward every time you make progress. The progress itself is the reward. The evolution, the leveling up, the transformation, that's what drives you. When you lock in on growth, your standards rise. You stop tolerating the behaviors, habits, and thoughts that used to feel normal. What once felt okay now feels like a betrayal to your future. You hold yourself to a higher level, not because anyone is watching, but because you respect your vision too much to stay the same. You become more aware of how you use your time. You become more intentional with your energy. You filter every action, every conversation, every relationship through one question: does this help me grow?
Being obsessed with growth also means becoming a student of life. You don't act like you know it all. You stay teachable. You seek mentors. You study people who have already done what you're trying to do. You observe. You learn. You take notes. You ask questions. You admit your weaknesses, not to feel ashamed, but to create room for strength. Because every weakness you face is an opportunity for growth. Every flaw you admit is a doorway to becoming better. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you stop evolving.
You also have to grow in the dark. That's what separates the committed from the curious. You grow when nobody sees you, when nobody claps for you, when no one is posting about your progress. You grow when you're tired, frustrated, broke, or alone. You grow when you choose to keep moving forward in silence, trusting that your consistency will bring the results. That's what obsession looks like. It's not loud. It's not glamorous. It's private, disciplined, and unstoppable. Growth is also painful. There's no sugarcoating that. Real growth forces you to confront who you are and what's been holding you back. It forces you to break old habits, destroy limiting beliefs, and challenge your comfort zone. It requires sacrifice, sacrificing time, comfort, relationships, and sometimes even parts of yourself that can't come with you to the next level. But with every sacrifice comes a new strength. With every painful step comes a deeper level of purpose and power. When you make growth your obsession, success becomes a byproduct. You don't chase money, you chase mastery, and money follows. You don't chase fame, you chase excellence, and recognition follows. You don't chase attention, you chase results, and impact follows. You're no longer focused on proving people wrong. You're focused on proving yourself right. You're no longer worried about being liked. You're worried about becoming legendary. This kind of obsession with growth makes you dangerous. It makes you focused, clear, and resilient. You stop getting shaken by small things. You stop falling into old traps. You stop playing small just to fit in. You don't care about being comfortable. You care about becoming great. And every day you take one more step toward the version of you that once felt impossible. That's how you become unrecognizable. You grow so much that people from your past won't believe who you are now. You grow so relentlessly that your former self becomes a stranger. You level up in silence and let your results scream. But it all starts with obsession. Not with perfection, not with talent, but with a deep burning obsession to evolve, to grow, to rise, every single day. Let the old you die. That's the only way forward. You can't step into your future carrying the weight of who you used to be. You can't become unrecognizable while still holding on to your past identity. The habits that kept you stagnant, the mindset that kept you afraid, the excuses that kept you stuck. None of it can come with you. There's a version of you right now that's familiar, comfortable, known. But that version isn't built for the life you're trying to create. You've got to bury it. You've got to decide with finality that who you've been is not who you're becoming. This is not a soft transformation. It's a death and a rebirth. You've got to stop negotiating with your old self, that voice in your head that says, take it easy, you're doing enough, Or you've tried before and it didn't work, that voice has to go. That voice is not a friend. That's the enemy in disguise, keeping you in your cycle, keeping you average, keeping you afraid of growth. You've got to rise above it. You've got to look it in the face and say, that version of me is dead. I've got no business going back. And then you move. You walk forward with discipline, with intention, with a hunger to evolve that can't be silenced. Letting the old you die doesn't mean you hate who you were. It means you've outgrown that version. It means you recognize that comfort doesn't lead to greatness. It means you're willing to let go of familiarity to chase something bigger. Think about it. How many times have you known exactly what needed to change, but fear held you back? How many opportunities did you miss because you were too attached to the old patterns, the old lifestyle, the old circle? If you don't kill that version, it will keep killing your potential. And every time you stay the same, you delay your own breakthrough. The old you is built on survival. It was formed in pain, fear, self-doubt, and insecurity. But the new you, that's a product of purpose. That's a person of discipline, of strength, of clarity. But that new you can't come alive if the old you still has a seat at the table. The old identity is like a chain wrapped around your progress, and every time you try to move forward, it yanks you back. So cut the chain, burn the bridge, declare that the old life is over, not next week, not next year, now. And here's the truth most people run from. Letting go hurts. Growth is painful because it forces you to release comfort and face the unknown. The old habits feel safe. The old identity feels familiar. But safety is an illusion. Staying the same will cost you your dreams. Familiarity will cost you freedom. You've got to get to a point where you're more afraid of staying the same than you are of starting over. That's when change happens. That's when the transformation begins. You've got to do the inner work. You've got to confront your mindset, your fears, your ego. You've got to identify the lies you've believed about yourself and replace them with truth. You've got to reprogram your thoughts, reshape your beliefs, and renew your commitment to becoming your best self. And that takes courage. It takes time. But it's necessary if you want to step into a life of power, purpose, and peace. It's not just about the grind. It's about identity. You have to start thinking, acting, and believing like the person you want to become. Your habits, your discipline, your energy, it all has to reflect the new you, not the old one. You don't wait to feel transformed. You act like it now. You show up every day as if you're already that person. And over time, your actions create alignment. The mindset shifts. The behaviors change. The results follow. And eventually, the old you is nothing more than a memory. That's when people start to notice. That's when they say, you've changed, and they're right, you have. You're not who you used to be, and you're not going back. You've evolved, you've elevated, you've transformed. That's the goal, to grow so much that your past self wouldn't even recognize your present self. But it all starts with a choice, a hard choice, a final choice. To bury the excuses, the fear, the comfort, the identity that's kept you stuck. Let the old you die and give birth to someone legendary. Grind in silence, let results speak. That's the mindset of someone truly locked in a world obsessed with broadcasting every move, chasing clout and seeking validation at every step. The real ones stay low and build. They understand that noise doesn't equal progress, and attention doesn't equal achievement. If you're truly about becoming unrecognizable, if you're serious about evolving into a new version of yourself, then you need to understand the power of silence. You don't need to announce your every goal. You don't need to explain your vision to everyone. You need to get in the lab, get in the gym, get in the books, and do the work quietly, consistently, relentlessly. The truth is, talking is easy, posting is easy, but what's hard is showing up every single day when nobody's watching. What's hard is staying focused when the recognition isn't there. But that's where the growth happens. That's where the real change is born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not on stage, but behind the scenes. When you grind in silence, you remove the pressure to impress. You stop performing for likes and start working for results. You stop seeking applause and start seeking progress. That's when the transformation gets real. When you're silent, you can hear your thoughts more clearly. You can feel your weaknesses more honestly. You become more self-aware. You stop competing with others and start competing with your past self. The silence becomes your sanctuary. It becomes your testing ground. That's where you build mental toughness. That's where you develop discipline. Because no one's there to clap for you when you wake up early. No one's there to pat you on the back when you're grinding after everyone else has quit. But that's exactly where your future is being shaped, in those quiet moments when you choose to keep going. And when the results come, they speak louder than any words ever could. You won't have to say you've changed, people will see it. They'll see the glow in your energy, the power in your discipline, the results in your actions. You'll walk into a room and they'll feel your presence, not because you shouted about your progress, but because your evolution is undeniable. That's the power of silent work. It's not loud, but it's permanent. It doesn't ask for attention, it demands respect. Most people never reach that level because they need validation to keep going. They need someone to notice. They need someone to say, good job. But when you're built different, you don't need that. You validate yourself through effort, through commitment, through consistency. You grind because that's who you are, not because someone is watching. You chase excellence because it's your standard, not because it's trending. And over time, that mindset separates you. While others talk, you build. While others slow down, you push forward. While others look for shortcuts, you put in the work. Grinding in silence also protects your energy. Not everyone needs to know your goals. Not everyone deserves access to your journey. Some people will only discourage you, distract you, or try to compete with you. But when you keep your moves private, you protect your peace. You keep your focus clean. You stay in alignment with your vision. You don't give people a chance to speak fear into your plans. You stay locked in. You keep stacking wins in silence until the results are so loud they can't be ignored. Let's be clear, grinding in silence doesn't mean hiding your light. It means cultivating your greatness in private so that when it shines bright and real. Not manufactured, not exaggerated, just real, raw, undeniable success built on a foundation of work. The kind of work that doesn't need validation because it already carries its own weight. So if you're serious about becoming unrecognizable, commit to the quiet grind. Let your actions scream. Let your results shout. Become so focused on the work that you don't even notice who's watching. One day, people will ask, where did you come from? And you'll smile knowing you never left. You were just too busy working to talk about it. That's how you rise. That's how you evolve. That's how you focus until you're unrecognizable.